Morgan Stanley is out with its second annual survey of venture capitalists. What are their top priorities and where will they be putting their money to work in 2021? Joining me now is Alice Vilma, Morgan Stanley's managing director and co-head of the Multicultural Innovation Lab. Alice, good to see you again. So I got a chance to look at this survey, and one of the big takeaways for me was a lot of these VCs are having a real dialogue about racial inequality. How is that shaping their investment decisions next year?
Hi, Alexis. Great to be here. Thank you for having me. So our report really focuses on VCs' attitudes towards increasing their diversity in their portfolios. And so what we've seen in this report and through our dialogue is that a lot of VCs now are beginning to make diverse investing part of their strategy and an imperative for their funds going forward. Given some of the social inequalities and challenges that have come to light in this market, we have seen VCs not only become more aware of the structural systemic issues that have happened with respect to lopsided investing or biased investing, and now they're looking to make it a priority to increase their portfolios in terms of diversity.
Talk to me about the difference year over year in terms of VCs saying that trying to have this diversity is now top priority for them. How is it different this year than last year?
I would see that the discourse around race and equity is really raising awareness of the funding gaps for diverse entrepreneurs among VCs, and it's also motivating by VCs to prioritize their efforts. What we're seeing is some shifts from 2019 to 2020 with respect to the funding gap is more recognition of the business case for investing in multicultural founded companies. 75% of the VCs that we have surveyed has agreed that it's possible to both have an investment strategy that intentionally looks to include diverse portfolios while still maximizing returns. We're also seeing 43% of VCs in our survey find opportunities to increase their diversification in their portfolios, and that's up 10 points from 2019. So we're starting to see almost universal recognition that diversity is good for business and is good to impact returns. There's more of a thought around marrying both maximizing returns and keeping their portfolios diverse, and an increased need to close the systemic issues that have been historically impacting the VC community around this type of investing.
I want to look ahead to 2021 and the work you're doing with the Innovation Lab there at Morgan Stanley. I know you deal with a number of different diverse startups, and you're expanding the number of startups that you're going to take on in the new year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, Alexis. Super proud about the work that we've been doing over the past 4 years with respect to increasing the awareness of the great opportunities that exist with diverse founders and women. And so we are increasing our program this year to 20 investments in companies, up from 10 that we've had previously. And we're increasing the amount of funding that goes into these companies as well, up to $250,000 from $200,000. We have seen great success in our current portfolio, and it is with that success that we've been able to increase our impact and reach with respect to expanding the lab into 2 cohorts and 20 companies this year.
Wow, so you're going to be doubling the cohort. That's pretty impressive in 2021. Talk to us about some of the 10 companies, I guess, that you're working with now. Who have been some of the star performers for you?
I hate to choose favorites, I will say that, but we've had excellent companies in our portfolio this year who have increased their funding rounds, have doubled the size of their investment rounds, which we were pleasantly surprised around. We had 2 companies specifically double the size of their anticipated funding for this year, basically, we believe, due to the increased awareness with respect to the social inequality. And one of the companies is a tech platform around diversity and inclusion in the enterprise. And so it was very easy for us to understand why they were able to increase that amount. But I would generally say that given the increased awareness around diversification of portfolios, we've had companies get a lot more interest from investors. We've increased our investor dialogue, as well as been able to bring more investors to the table to meet some of these entrepreneurs and discuss potential investment going forward.
You know, we keep hearing that COVID-19 has impacted certain sectors of the economy disproportionately. Women among them. What have you been seeing in the startup space in terms of how these diversified entrepreneurs are handling starting a business, which is difficult enough, but starting a business during a pandemic?
I would definitely say that COVID has highlighted two important issues with respect to the early stage companies that we've come across. The first is that a lot of these companies, because of their tech focus, have been able to take advantage of not necessarily being in place and in person moving forward. And that's been great. We've had companies who, for instance, have televet practices. So one of our companies, Teletails, who was able to immediately take advantage of not being able to have in-person vet visits because of their because of the social distancing requirements. And so their business shot up. We have another company that is looking to do home testing for health and other diseases, and so that company was able to secure COVID testing kits and send those out, and that increased their business severalfold. So there were definite opportunities for these companies to be able to take advantage of disruption in face-to-face contact, but it's always, as with early stage companies, you do have the necessity to make sure that you have enough runway to make it through a period where you may have a bit of a disruption in your business or longer sales cycles, which we also saw as well. And the good news is, I would say the venture investing landscape remained robust during this period, such that these investors, these companies were able to weather that storm.
Are you finding that progress is being made, perhaps not as quickly as many would like to see, but are VCs actively giving more money to female-led companies or diversified-led companies? And even within that, do you see more interest for one versus the other? By that, I mean, are entrepreneurs of color seeing a larger jump in the amount of money going to them versus female-led companies?
I would say that there definitely has been an increase from the VC community in making sure that they increase their touch points with and potentially their investments into women and founders of color. I would say from our standpoint, given the large gaps that I would say that have existed with respect to founders of color, you see proportionately slightly more dollars being sent that way with respect to increasing portfolios, because you have had more of an increase of portfolios in women. And so now it would then go to show that entrepreneurs of color are also beginning to receive more investment. But I would say that from the community and what we've seen, the VCs are looking at both, and really as a means to diversify their entire portfolio from both a gender and founder base and racial basis.
All right. Alice Vilma, Morgan Stanley's Managing Director and co-head of the Multicultural Innovation Lab. Always good to speak with you, and good luck with the work you're doing next year.
Thanks so much, Alexis. Great to speak with you.